If you're a runner trying to avoid a stress fracture, or maybe you've already had a stress fracture and you're trying to prevent a future one, I'm going to explain in this video an unexpected contributor to stress fractures that, if you haven't addressed yet, would be vital in preventing one. So everybody thinks that stress fractures and bone stress injuries are because you ran too much, okay? Equal ran too much. Now, this is true in the essence of stress fractures are caused by running, by the act of running, and the pounding and the overall volume and intensity of your training will play a significant role in causing your bones to fracture, right? But there is another aspect of stress fractures that a lot of people don't really think about, and that is the nutritional, metabolic, and hormonal components keeping the bones healthy in the body, okay? So let's kind of go through this a little bit. When people think about bone health, okay, they very often will think about building bones and building bone density, and that's great, right? So things that build bone health are going to be weight training, okay? Maybe some plyometric or jump training, okay? And these can often be prescribed as forms of exercise to think, okay, if I want to improve my bone health, I need to do some heavy weightlifting. And if I want to improve my bone health, maybe I need to do a little bit of jumping. And those are things that are really good at stimulating the bones. Now, that is true. Stress fractures are caused in part by running too much, and bones get healthy by weight training and doing some plyometric or jump training. But one of the most unexpected contributors to the whole picture of stress fractures and bone health in runners is fueling. So fueling for your runs is one of the most important things that you can do to prevent stress fractures. Fueling in running basically means eating more calories than you burn. So a lot of people will get into running, or they will use running as a way to lose weight. And that in and of itself is fine and it's good. And I would encourage people to lose weight through running. But where it can become a problem is when somebody is running for a long time, not just like in the run, but over months and years, and they are under fueling, which basically means they're in a caloric deficit for an extended period of time. And if their training volume increases, their intensity increases, or the just accumulation effect of being in a caloric deficit for a very long time will pull resources from the bones to keep the human body system going. So if you're not eating enough calories to support your training, this will put your bones in a more fragile, predisposed position to fracturing. It's not just that you ran too much or that you're not doing your weight training or plyometric training. It is often, most importantly, that you're not eating enough or you're not fueling properly for the training that you're doing, okay? So another aspect of fueling and running that also ties into bone health is getting calcium and vitamin D. So if we want to talk about bone health, we of course have to talk about calcium and vitamin D. So if you're lactose intolerant and you're a runner and maybe you've had a stress fracture already, you should totally be thinking about, well, what are my calcium levels? Am I eating enough calcium in my diet? Do I need to be supplementing calcium somehow to support the overall system of me running and eating and just trying to be a human, okay? If it's winter time, are you vitamin D deficient just because the sun's out a little bit less? Are you naturally vitamin D deficient because you have an office job and you're sitting inside for a large majority of the day? Maybe your runs are the only times you get outside, and maybe it just doesn't happen to be enough. So fueling for running obviously has a lot to do with what you're eating, but it also has to do with some of these micronutrients like the calciums and the vitamin Ds. So if you are trying to avoid getting a stress fracture, or if you're trying to prevent another stress fracture if you've already had one, it's not enough just to think about your running and how much you're running, okay? It's not even enough to think about the weight training or plyometrics that you're doing. You also need to make sure that you're eating enough, you're getting more calories than you're burning, and that your calcium and vitamin D levels are at sufficient levels for you and your training. And that whole picture plays into how healthy the bones are and how they respond to the stress of running. If you found this video helpful, drop it a like. If you have a question, drop it in the comments. And if you think somebody else might enjoy this video, send it over to them. Thanks for watching.